Welcome. I am Jonnita Stanton, and we have Reginald Perryman, Kashka Williams, and we are TSARE. This is a There's Something About Real Estate podcast where we talk all things real estate.
What's going on, y'all?
What's up?
Just got done having some real good discussions off camera.
Off camera? We gonna talk about them on camera.
So now I'm sitting here like, okay, what? I don't know where I'm supposed to look at. Right, left, up, down.
Just look ahead. The camera right there. So we on a new set.
Yeah.
So you got to look straight ahead to the cameras.
Oh,
okay.
Everybody?
Not all at the same time, like y'all taking. Y'all did like y'all taking a school photo.
Yeah, like
without the wicker.
Well, we
chairs.
could be looking at each other while we talking because we just having a discussion. So we could just.
Yeah, I don't like looking at y'all.
yeah.
I don't like watching y'all argue. It's bad for my psyche.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right, guys. So how was everybody's week this week? How did y'all do in real estate this week?
The week was good. Real estate is good. It's always good.
For me, I hated this week. I had to travel.
What?
I had to travel.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't want to travel. I don't, but it was cool overall. I ain't gonna complain, but I didn't enjoy it.
You made money though, right?
I did.
Yep.
Yeah, so I guess why I can't complain. Right?
That's a lesson. You making money, but you ain't like it.
Yeah, all money ain't good money.
Exactly.
I know some people that was on a pole that felt that way.
Oh my goodness.
So what we talking about this week? We're going with the what?
I mean, I think we need to go ahead and give some market updates. I was, I guess Reggie and I was sitting here looking at some of the reports for Wayne and Oakland County.
Right.
And so we just did, this is the listed data. So what would that be? What's on the market?
Right.
Currently active. People have an opportunity to purchase. And the pricing is not necessarily set, negotiable. These are all, you get with your agent. You don't necessarily have to offer those prices.
Right.
But for Wayne County, we have 3,894 homes available for sale. Wayne is pretty.
Actually, no. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Or did I?
Yeah, we can pull the stats up. For our technician here.
Look at that.
Right.
That's that new stuff.
Oh yeah, new technology. So.
So we're just looking at the residential count.
All right.
Right.
So when we talk, so we first pulled the active. So when y'all follow us on the next episode, we're going to show the solds. And the reason we're going to show the solds because you want to see what the homes are actually selling for. Mm-hmm. But people are still saying it's low inventory, but is that still true?
What you think?
I think it's more imbalanced now, but I still think there's a shortage of good properties.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Right. Inventory is still pretty low. I mean, Wayne County is a big county. I guess maybe we should take a look at the population.
Right.
So, we have 3,800 homes or almost 3,900 homes available. I don't know. I mean, I'm not, you know what I mean?
So, Reggie, you think that it is or is not? You feel like it's more balanced now?
It's more balanced than what it was 6 months ago, of course, but it's still a shortage of good quality properties.
Okay. And what you think, Johnny?
I think it's definitely more balanced in terms of home availability for people who really are wanting to move right now. Like, you don't have that same mania and rush to you have an opportunity to shop a little bit.
Take your time.
And negotiate some terms. Mm-hmm. You're not just giving somebody else all you got with nothing in kind of return. So I feel like that's what creates the balance, not that it's just overly saturated with houses.
I don't feel like it's a balance. I feel like it's more. Houses are on the market longer, right? Because now buyers are, like you said, they don't have to make irrational decisions. They don't have to rush,
right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
They get to sit back and do what you should do when you buy a house, which is make a informed decision, right? Whereas the last couple of years, everybody's been having to rush through it and just been buying it off of a whim.
Yeah, it was the fear of missing out. So a lot of people, it's like, oh. it's 11 offers. I got to come in strong.
Yeah.
I got to do 10,000 above, no inspection, appraisal guarantee. That's pretty much gone unless it's the hottest house.
And nice house.
And they have a price.
And we're
well.
still seeing that on some properties. Like I'm advising sellers, like, you know, you want 305, list it for $299 and see what happens.
Bid up.
You may end up with 310.
Yep.
In this market still today, but once you list it at 305, 310, it's gonna sit. You're not gonna get as many people in the door.
At the top.
And it's
top
just
of
an
the market.
example of a number, you know.
Yeah, he's saying at the
Right.
top of the market. He's saying don't list at the top. Go below the top and then let them
Right.
bid it up.
Right.
People have to understand how, like, the herd mentality, right? How people move in markets, right? Everybody think they can time the market. You don't know the bottom hit until after we out of it, right?
Exactly.
So people follow each other in herds. That's why you seen, okay, it's 12 offers on this property. It must be good. I gotta have it.
Right.
I'm a bid too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could take 2 properties on the same block, you know, similar condition. And if it's 12 offers on one, most people gonna go to the house with 12 offers
Yep.
instead
Crazy.
of saying, I'm gonna go over here
different. Yeah.
to this one.
And then that's where you need to have someone working for you and kind of redirect. Because I've had that happen where, you know, I've told my buyers, like, you know what? Okay, let's look at the house.
Right.
But did you see this one up here? Like, literally, somebody I just closed recently, there was what did they buy at? Mid-4s? And they literally was going to put an offer in on a house. They were going to do an appraisal guarantee. They were going to bid above price. And
Right.
I'm like, So it was like 3 houses, and then this one popped up. I mean, and it was actually better than the other houses, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So that agent had a really good strategy. He came in under.
Huh?
Did they come in under? Was he underneath the one that the other 12 people were looking at?
No.
The same price?
Yeah. It probably was the one that that my buyers end up purchasing. I think it was priced a little less.
Oh, does it came
And
in
they
under?
still,
Came in under.
Okay.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I'm confused. I don't understand the
See,
question.
there you go. I'm glad I'm not sitting in the middle today.
I
Y'all
said-
gonna argue.
No, it's not an argument. I'm just trying to understand
Under
what he
meaning that it was priced less than the one that the 12 people were going after.
Yes. But it had been on the market for a little bit of time. You know, but I'm just saying, like, you know, make sure you're checking out everything that's available, because when everybody is over here looking at this one, you could be over here negotiating on this one.
It's the same way with sellers. So sellers have that same herd mentality. Like, oh, I'm seeing everybody reduce their price. Wait, I want to reduce mine. You only been on the market a week, right? So the people that's doing the quickest price reductions probably realized they were overpriced coming to the market. If you're priced properly, you need to wait at least 3 weeks before you consider a price reduction.
And we're talking about just considering. So let's talk about the average price point in Wayne County. So the total of what's this
Hold
one
on.
that you got?
So this is
Wayne County right here.
Well, hold on, y'all.
Wait.
You just said something that was huge. The price reduction, we just talked about the price reduction.
He explained it.
No, he didn't.
He said don't reduce quickly. He said wait.
So here's a couple things about the price reduction. You got I want to say, and this is just my opinion based on the stats that I look at daily, I would say maybe 60 to 70% of the price reductions we're seeing are people that were pricing ahead of the market to begin with, right? So since we're in this transition, everybody that we were marketing to back in February of this year, March, homes that were selling for listed for 300 were selling for 325, right? Those sellers now are coming to the market saying, okay, everything's selling 10% higher. I'm gonna list my house. I'm suggesting 325. I'm gonna list at 350. Well, we're not in that market where the rapid appreciation is going the same way anymore. So they come on the market at 350. Next thing you know, they're reducing it to 330. Right. Now they're getting offers when they should have started at 325 and could have possibly sold it for 335. So it's like all of these sellers hit the market at once, because they were pricing ahead of the market, when really you always should price competitive to the market, and then the market will always reward you based on that.
Stop being greedy.
Yeah.
But even, okay, so that's great. But then we was talking about people that are doing price reductions, and we was talking about strategies for price reduction.
Right.
Right. And so you can go ahead and I'll tell you what I feel about it.
What, about price reductions in general?
Yeah.
And are you saying in regards to the amount they should reduce by? I mean, it should be a significant amount to make it. So I look at, if you're going to reduce the price, it needs to move the needle, right? And when I say move the needle, if you got buyers searching between 300 and 350 and you're listed at 350, it should be, if somebody's search criteria is 300 to 340 or 350, you shouldn't even show up nowhere near 350.
Right.
You should be 340, 335. Yeah, somebody that couldn't even, that's probably not even looking in the 350 range. That's where you should reduce your price to. And now those people start competing, but the people that can afford 350 start looking at your house as a possible deal, and they jump back in the buyer pool, and they're like, oh, I ain't competing with these pheasants at 330.
Right.
I can offer 340, right? Yes. So it's a strategy behind it, but not everybody knows that. And sometimes sellers don't want to listen because they're caught up into maybe they got too much invested in the property if they're flipping, or they just attached to the property and feel they deserve 350.
But what do you show them, to support, those price reductions?
The market is showing. I mean, we show them data, but ultimately, I don't care how many stats, comps, everything I show somebody. The thing they're gonna listen to the most is the market. The market is gonna say, we're not buying your house. You've been on the market 60 days. We're still not buying. You've been on the market 90 days. We're not buying it. And then the minute they reduce that price, then they got multiple offers.
Yep. So I think I see a lot of issues with the fact that the agent is the one, they started it, right? They didn't inform the seller from the jump.
Right.
Right. Most of the time. So then now the agent got to save face, and they don't want to drop the price because they told the seller that they're going to get them this number. Right. So then when they do start dropping the price, which is what I hate,
I'm
is
glad
like,
you mentioned that.
Yeah, you were at $350 and now you dropped the price $5,000.
Right.
You were at $349.9, you dropped it down to $344.9.
Right.
As if that's about to get you any more looks.
I mean, you get some people that drop it $500.
Yeah,
Right.
Because they like, but they just letting you know we
like 500.
Yeah, but they letting you know we stuck. I mean, like this is our number. We're not moving, right? They think that's a strategy to get them to the top of the list. But yeah, it's kind of like you said. It's got to be a strategy behind reducing your price. You can't just reduce your price for the hell of it.
So
you know what I mean?
Here's the thing: when you mention agents, right? So a couple things. You have some agents that are just hungry. They starving. They need the business. They're going to tell you what you want to hear to get your home listed because they want to generate buyer leads. So basically, they're leveraging your property to generate more business. Then you got agents that's just going to tell you straight up, you should be within this range. A good agent will turn down a business. They're just going to say, look, between 320, 330, that's it. If you're not listing in that range, I'm going to walk away because it costs the agent money and time to even service your listing. Now, if they give you a range between 320 and 330 and you want 335, that's more reasonable. And then you say, okay, if it doesn't sell, I'll reduce the price after a certain period of time.
So I'm sorry, go ahead, because I got a question.
Go ahead.
So you said if they don't turn down as the seller, you want to list it higher than it should be. And then a good agent would just kind of be like, nah, I don't want to do that.
Grossly higher. Well, you're talking about way higher, not a little bit.
Yes.
All right. So what's like a number?
So here, the
20,000.
Okay.
A lot of sellers, some sellers are just going to work with the first agent they meet, right? No, they're going to look at the data. The data makes sense. It's almost common sense. what range they should be in based on what the comps are saying, right? You don't have to just rely on what the agent is showing you. There's so much data available on Zillow or online that it may not be 100%.
I don't like that.
Well, no, I'm just saying it may not be 100% accurate, but you can go online and see what similar homes in your neighborhood sold for. It's not 100% accurate because Zillow never been inside these houses. The agents have, right? But what I'm saying is there's numbers that show you a range, right? Like if you're looking at a stock chart, you can see what the average is over the course of 3 months or whatever, right? So seller interviews Shaka, seller interviews you, and interviews me. And I say 320 to 330, you might say 340, you may say 300, right? Then the seller has to make a decision who's more reliable based on what was presented. Of course, a lot of sellers want the highest price. Now, what are you going to do to actually get me this price, right? Most agents can't tell you that. If we are presented the same marketing plan and everything, most sellers would go with the highest price.
You think so?
Yeah, or that agent's confidence in being able to get that price, they're selling the seller on, I can get you this price, right? So it becomes a little tricky for the seller if they're getting 3 different opinions with 3 agents that are very confident. But here's the thing, most agents aren't that confident. Most agents don't have a true marketing plan. So you have to trust the person that can really show you their experience in actually selling, what their list price is compared to their sales prices.
But so why I asked you if you think so is because if they show you the comps, the comparables, then and if the seller is looking at a comparable and your house is selling $20,000, or they're suggesting that you list your house $20,000 above the nearest comparable, then no, they shouldn't go with the person that's saying the highest price. They should go with the individual who's giving them the best
information. But you're thinking like a professional. You're not thinking about the average person that may be a little greedy that says, I want the highest I can get from my home, right? So really a seller should ask themselves, an agent should be asking the seller, but a seller really needs to ask himself, what's most important, pricing, timing, or convenience? Right? Convenience meaning I'm relocating. I got my job starts in a month. I have to be there because I need to move regardless. If this house don't sell, I'm leaving it. Right? That's convenience. Or I'm selling this house to buy another house and I need to make a smooth transition. Timing, again, can be relocation related or price. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to wait it out until I get my price. Now, that'll help you determine what you want to come to market at. I just want to get it done. The confusion with the agents is when agents present you data, it's only data, but the agent has to prove to you that they can get you the price range that they suggested. I'm not going to suggest a price range I don't think I can sell a home at.
So that's one perspective.
Right.
I think I'm thinking the question I want to ask is from the other perspective where you maybe they interview 3 qualified agents, people who have longevity in the business, and, you know, they're ultimately probably going to make a decision based on who they like the most or something, personality. But the seller still wants $20,000 above what the market says the house is going to be valued at. Then you're saying then the agent should just say, you know what, this isn't going to work out. And to, you know, it's just, it's going to be a waste of time.
I feel like if you're the seller, go with the agent you're comfortable with in that situation, but also consider the agent that's being upfront and honest with you and saying, I don't feel confident in getting you this price.
Okay,
I'm going to answer your question. I want to answer the question you just asked.
Yeah.
Reggie didn't answer the question. The question she's asking is, as the agent, should you walk away from it? And the reason I'm saying yes is because I'm not. It costs money for me to list your house. And if I'm not going to be able to actually sell your, I don't want to. I mean, some people can, you know what? It's not a bad strategy for somebody, right? But
no, people do
I've been
it all
trying
the
to make
time.
a point for like 5 minutes.
I'm
Hurry
not
up.
interested in that though. I'm trying to sell your house. If I'm not going to be able to sell your house, like if I know that you're not going to sell it under whatever the number it is that you agreed to list it at,
right?
Then no, I'm not going to spend it. It costs me money to market your house.
Okay.
So
it wasn't really a point. It was a question. My question is, if we say no, do we say no, or do we say we bring back the price reduction addendums that you signed prior to the listing?
Yeah, but it still depends on the agent. Like, if you're 20% above my price recommendation, I'm gonna have to turn it down. Now, if you may be like 5%, 3%, then that's still gonna draw some interest, and then we can have an agreement. If it doesn't sell by this time with all the marketing I'm doing, then after this particular date, we need to reduce the price, right? So really what a lot of people got to understand is when you list your house, it becomes a product, right? So it becomes inventory. So if I'm a store owner and Jonnita says, I have the Jonnita Force Ones, put them in your store, and I'm seeing the market for these type of shoes is only $80 to $100. And she's like, I want 120. Well, show me why y'all can get 120.
Didn't that just happen with LeVar Ball?
Probably did, but he didn't sell as many. He didn't sell as many pairs as Air Force Ones neither, right? So what I'm saying is, I have to see as the owner of the store who's holding all of this inventory, and I got to try to market this inventory, and it's taking up space in my store.
Costing me money.
It's costing me money when I could be selling a cheaper version or a equal version, but that's priced right to the market. Now, unless you got something that's really unique about this product that can really be determined by the market is worth the extra $20, then maybe I'll take a chance at it. But most business owners are going to be like, no, I'm taking the inventory that can actually sell.
But my question is, when you get down, do you think that if you present a price reduction addendum at the listing and you get that signed with the listing, do you think that it still won't ultimately, so once you finally adjust down to the market price, you think that it won't move?
I think it'll move. It just depends on the price reduction. But the other issue you have with that, if the property sits on the market too long, you have too many price reductions, the average buyer in the market that's looking all the time, they start thinking something's wrong with the property.
They assume it's wrong with it. That's always.
But then, if they have some good agents, they may say, you might want to go look at it.
Right.
Yeah.
There might be an opportunity to, negotiate a little bit.
Right, but you don't necessarily want all bargain hunters just looking at your property.
You don't want all bargain hunters because if a person comes into your house, it's like the property example that we led with. The person may love it so much that they don't want to let it go. They may understand, this seller really needs to get this price. The seller is willing to adjust a little bit, maybe a couple $1,000s,
right? But
not tens of thousands of dollars,
right?
Especially if they've already reduced the price.
The agent job is to get people in the door and help negotiate. Your job is to determine if you're going to accept the offers presented or not.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is, if you get the seller to agree, so now you're negotiating with the seller a little bit. Like, look, I want to help you sell your property.
Right.
I know you want this price. I know you, for whatever reason, I've shown you all this data, but you still think you can get this price. So instead, and I do want to work with you, the seller wants to work with you. So instead of just walking away from it, isn't that the compromise?
I mean, I don't know if it's a compromise, but it still
depends on the price reduction. Some sellers are not even in a position because of what they owe. Yeah. They're not in a position to do a price reduction.
It's another strategy. Yeah. I don't know if it's compromise, but I get it.
Because ultimately, because I was going to bring up that point too, but then it becomes a moot point because I think for this example, we're talking about people who have the equity to be able to make those adjustments.
I think that's the ideal compromise, but it's still, what's the starting price? What's the price reduction going to be? Because if it's still unrealistic, in my opinion. I have the choice as a business owner to just walk away from that business.
You're going to lose me money.
But there's no point in if the addendum doesn't help you get to your suggested price, then yeah.
And then you let another agent list it, right? And it shows up on the expired listing, then you go in and get the expired
I told you
listing.
so.
Look,
I told you so.
It's crazy. We got somebody in our office right now that's dealing with that, and I told her, I said, look, and this is the seller is he went with the highest, the agent that told him they can get on the most. Property been sitting there, and I'm like, this is your opportunity right now. This is somebody you should be talking to them now, like not like I told you so, but hey, property still hasn't sold.
Like, how's it going? How many showings are you getting? And if it's priced right, the number of showings that attracted people to the property in the first place is the first indicator. If you're not getting offers and you're getting a lot of showings, it's usually not the price, it's probably the overall condition of the home, which leads back to price, because at the right price, somebody will buy it. But online, when people see that price, if you get, 10, 15 showings and no offers, the price attracted the people to the property, because for that area, for that price, they were attracted and they were interested enough to come into the home. But once they got into the home, means they didn't like the product, right? I tried these shoes on and they make my feet hurt, but they look good on Instagram.
On the pictures. The pictures. You had really good pictures.
Yeah.
Man, but it wasn't true. So that's why pictures is huge too, right?
Yep.
Instead of catfishing.
Man.
True to form pictures.
Right.
Stop doing all them filters.
Them filter
filtering out that look. They vacuum the carpet and then filter it and make it look like, and then you get there and it's dog spots and cat spots.
Or those twilight photos when at nighttime all the lights on.
I swear I originated that. I gotta show y'all this old listing. Y'all gonna die.
Yeah.
Reggie always be looking at it. That's Twilight.
Hey, let's look at some inventory stats. So we're going to look at active listings, and then when we do a follow-up show, we're going to do what actually sold, what these stats look like.
So this was all of Wayne County for the residential.
So Wayne County residential, what we got, this is how many are actively listed on the market, and this is the average list price. Now keep in mind, this is what the homes are on the market for overall average, and this is for Wayne County. And then when we look at commercial properties, we have a total count of 695. Average is just over 580. And then the condos, you got 443. And the average is just over 373. Multifamily, 377. Average 208. And Wayne County average count for vacant land. Now keep in mind, when we say vacant land, it's not just residential, it's all vacant land, commercial, probably some farm area in some of these areas. But this is 805 is the count, and 235 is the average, just over 235. Now, also when we say vacant land, this can be anything from a quarter acre to 15 or 20 acres of land. So those are your averages for Wayne County as a total. When we look at Oakland County, you see the numbers are a little bit higher. You see the count average list price is $622. Now,
Oakland County is really big.
Yeah, and Oakland County is also one of the richest counties in the nation. A lot of people don't know that. So when we talk about Detroit to most of our listeners outside, and we be like, yeah, you ought to consider some of the surrounding suburbs. And they be like, no, I'm just interested in helping Detroit come back. Mm-hmm. Well, some cities in Oakland County are already there, and you're missing out on money because you fascinated with Detroit. With 8 Mile.
Yeah. I love 8 Mile.
End up
but that's crazy. So 2,400, we're talking about 1,400 less properties. But you said, so what's the size difference between Oakland County and Wayne? You said Oakland County is huge.
It is.
It's bigger than Wayne?
Significantly larger.
Than Wayne?
Yes.
That's crazy. So you talk about inventory in a significantly larger area is 1,400 houses less.
Look at that price difference. So when we're talking to out-of-state investors, and we look at the average price, Wayne County at $199, and you look at Oakland County, you're talking about over a $400,000 difference, right?
Yep.
And average price, the average commercial property is $674. The average condo is $415.
Go to Wayne. I'm talking about the inventory, the actual account that's available to sell. So $695 and $443. All right, go ahead. Let's go back to.
Yep. So.
Oh my God, commercial that's crazy.
Yeah, commercial, and then the average condo $415. The average multifamily is $580, which was multifamily for Wayne County was $208. So across the board, it's just the prices are higher, and then the average for vacant land is $322. But when we look at Wayne County and Oakland County number count, it's not that big of a difference as far as number of vacant lots available for sale. We're talking about 851 and 805, but there's about $100,000 difference. And then Macomb County, residential average is $349, commercial $699, condos $233, multifamily $252, and vacant land is $318. Macomb County is slept on a lot.
It is.
For the price you can get, square footage and the type of house. A lot of people sleep on Macomb County too.
That's like the Atlanta of the Tri-County area.
I don't see all
no,
that.
I mean, I'm for real. Like, you know, you get all those new constructions out there and they just don't cost you that much.
Right.
Yeah.
Atlanta is expensive as hell.
Let's look at
probably now.
I mean, over everything else, that's where all the money is. That's where everything is. The cost is higher. But
let's look at the average residential single family in Detroit. The average list price is $104, which is in line with when we were talking about the median price had actually went up over 100,000. And that's why we're going to bring back the sold data, because this is just active listings right now. Commercial is $594, which isn't that far off from the commercial in Oakland County, I think. Yeah, it was $674 for Oakland County, but Detroit is $594. So commercial across the board is kind of the $500,000 or up average. And then condos. Now here's the thing. When we look at the average condo in Detroit at $413 versus Oakland County at $415, Oakland County has $408. Detroit has $265. Oakland County, more residential single families. They do have condos, but most of them are like townhome style condos. You have a few high rises like in Southfield. But the reason I think Detroit, and y'all can explain this, is because of downtown. Yeah. All the high rise condos we have. Plus we have some stuff around Midtown and some townhome styles. It's the city. Yeah, it's the
not
city.
The suburb. You know what I mean? So yeah, you're going to have your condos.
Yeah, the condo list prices. And when we come back to do the solds, I think the condos is probably the most depressed market in Detroit right now.
And why is that, though?
I think it's a combination. Well, you had a boom.
They're not splitting this up from co-ops to they're not differentiating the difference here.
Right. And when we come back, we're going to actually break that down, and then we'll explain the difference between a co-op and a condo, because people need to know that. Detroit multifamily average is $198, and vacant land is $169. Again, because like the highest vacant lot in Detroit right now is just listed for just under $4 million. Then the next several highest are all like $2.5 million. But then we still got vacant lots, residential vacant lots that are selling for $50 and $100. But this is a combination of all divided by the 283. So your average vacant land, and keep in mind when we say vacant land, this could be something that's 15 acres or 3 or 4 acres, all combined into one. And we'll break that down next time. Because we were discussing earlier the vacant land. We might want to show this residential versus commercial vacant lots that are zoned for commercial or residential.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I wanted to go over the principal and interest payments for if you were to win one of these Detroit houses at this price near this, what is it, the 440. So I'm saying that because we know we're looking at list price numbers.
That's Wayne County.
Huh?
That's Wayne County.
That was Detroit.
That was Detroit?
Yeah.
Where were you talking about?
Click on Detroit.
All right.
For the average residential sales price, active.
List price, okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh.
So you're basing it on what their payment would be?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like if they were to be like, you know what, forget it, I'll pay, $104,440. That we came up with, and we used the 6.75% interest rate, 3.5% down.
FHA.
Yeah. So this would be like if you were an FHA style loan, $653.69. But that's principal and interest only.
Right.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, because taxes and insurance is going to vary per neighborhood, per property. But still, let's say the average is going to be about $850.
Yeah.
$900 possibly.
You do still got to add that the mortgage insurance.
Yeah.
Anytime you don't put down 20%.
Right.
Yeah.
But still, what's that? The average rent in Detroit is over $1,000.
Yeah, it's over $1,000.
$1,100-$1,200.
Mm-hmm.
So when you compare that to owning a home in the city,
It make no sense not to own, right?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And
Well,
then,
it depends. Some people don't want that responsibility, though.
I ain't gonna tell y'all what he said on the phone earlier, but anyway.
I just don't believe. I mean, we talk about home ownership, yeah, and it's good for wealth building. You're gonna stay there and build equity. I just personally don't believe that everybody, if you're not ready to own, you don't want that responsibility, don't let nobody talk you into it just because it's the end thing to do, right?
Is it the end thing to do?
Well,
A lot
it
of
is.
people-
It has been lately.
It has been lately because everybody was on this kick. Oh, I just bought a house. It was like cool and sexy, which it should be. I'm not saying don't buy a home, but I'm saying know yourself, know what you're capable of, and know how responsible you are. Right?
I feel like if you're a person that don't know what the hell you about to do,
Right.
buy a house. If you're an informed individual and you're intelligent about your movements, then you don't necessarily have to. But if you're just somebody that's hanging around, you don't know what's about to go on, man, buy a house.
Yeah.
Like, and then let that equity build for you, and then make it. That's like a cheat code. You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like buying a house is a cheat code for people who don't know what the hell they're doing with their life.
Yeah, and a lot of people, so home ownership is more, it gives you more stability. You have a little bit more responsibility, but those two go hand in hand, right? But the biggest part, I tell people, we could talk all day about wealth building, generation. The biggest part about home ownership, at least for here in Michigan, because of the way our foreclosure laws are, is you need some power and control over your life if you get into a bad situation. If you rent a house and something happened financially or you get sick, your landlord want their money. They getting you out as soon as the court let them. But when you have a mortgage, one, you can somewhat fight off the inflation because landlords going to increase the rent as much as they can in most cases, right? But when you own a home, unless you got some type of crazy adjustable rate or your taxes keep popping up, you got a little bit more of a fixed payment, right? Then also, if you fall on hard times, at least here in Michigan, because of the way the redemption period and all of that, you're looking at 9 to 12 months before you actually have to be out of the house. So I'm looking at it from, hey, if something happens to me, how much time do I have to recover before I have to move? That's why I say homeowners, because if you do lose the house and go to foreclosure, you take a ding on your credit, you rebuild. But if you get evicted with a landlord, it's over quicker. Plus,
but your options is greater too.
But when you get evicted, that's still negative on your credit.
Yeah, it's just as bad. You can't. Yeah, it's just as bad.
Then what other landlord gonna want to deal with you? If you lost a house and you go to a landlord and say, hey, this is what happened, but I recovered now. I just didn't recover in time to sell the house. You probably have a better chance of, hey, I was there 5 years. You know what I'm saying? This just happened. Here's my history. Whereas, hey, I was there, I was renting. Most landlords can be
plus
like,
your options.
Yeah,
so
you got a lot more options.
when you behind on your rent, you only got one option. You about to get evicted.
Right.
And you behind on your mortgage. It depending on how long you've been there and how much equity you have in there, you have the option to sell your house.
You can sell the house.
You can rent your house.
Money.
You might be able to rent it and then take the rent to go. Yeah, you can rent
and make more money. Yeah,
you got so many options. Like you said, you got control of your destiny when you own a house. I understand. I think that people who are not the most savvy should buy because it's safe to me. Right,
but still get educated in the process.
Yeah, it's safe. You can do.
I'm still here thinking about other stuff that you can
do as an owner.
And the other thing is, like, when people fall on hard times and they do own houses, you still should talk to a professional about your options in those scenarios too, because you may talk to a family member and they might just be like, well, I'll just start packing up and come on over here. And you don't even know that you got another 12 months that you can possibly shake and move.
I'm glad you said that. That's a great point, Jonnita. No, but no, the reason I say that is because, look, if you got a 3-bedroom house, you got 2 kids or whatever your family structure is, most leases have a clause in there based on how many occupants can occupy that property. So you fall on hard times, you know next month you can't make rent, you want to move your sister in and her 2 kids, y'all combining y'all income under one household, the landlord is going to say no, or I'm raising the rent, right? When you own the home, you can move your sister in, your cousin in, and fill up every square inch of that house and make enough money to stay and survive until everybody get back on their feet.
It's true.
That's the difference.
Options.
Yeah, so like whenever we're talking about the home ownership talk, I'm definitely one of those people who, I'm pro, like, buy some land, buy some dirt, and things like that. I wanted to talk a little bit more about some of these payments. And just because everybody's, like, scared, sticker shock with the rates and things like that, but...
Go ahead.
Maybe a different day.
Yep.
Now, it was only one more. We just, so we cover average price.
I'm seeing a lot less real estate gurus.
Right.
Are you?
On Instagram. Yeah.
Man.
Everybody, when the market good, everybody coming out.
Is the market bad, though?
No, it's not bad. It's just different.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, here's the thing. Even wholesalers are sending out price reductions. Y'all getting those emails? Price reduced.
Reduced price. Or if you go look at the inventory, it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yep.
So I guess since Jonnita don't want to go over her pricing, so what should people? All right, let's talk about what buyers should expect in the upcoming market or the new market. What sellers should expect in the new market, and what investors should expect in the new market.
Buyers, the best house you can afford, buy it if you want it. And when I say afford, not what you approve for, but what you can afford. Investors, you're going to see more opportunity, but you got to be right about your numbers. Like you can't go in there and be naive and be like, I got so many investors that be like, well, I got to get 140 because all I put into it. Well, you just brought it
You shouldn't
wrong.
have bought it, right?
Or you put too much into it. That is not the market is not going to reward you for being stupid, right? So you want 140, the market say 110, you shouldn't have brought it at 80 and put 40 into it. Right. That's just the reality. They
should have brought Deal or No Deal. They should have brought it to Deal or No Deal on Sunday.
Exactly. Some investors should have got better. They should have got more opinions before they brought the property, and they should have realized where the market was going.
I think investors should be looking for some of these people that are retiring right now. You have a lot of people who are getting up in age, they're relocating, and they want to sell off some of these properties, and they're not trying. They've had them for long enough to where they've made money on them 10 times. 20 times over, and they're letting them go for good pricing, maybe just a little bit below the retail market.
Right. And investors also, especially if you're using hard money lending or private lending, you have to really look at your timing, because before, all the investors, you was spoiled, you renovate a property, it's on the market, it's sold in a week, it's closing in 30, 40 days. Now you have to expect that property going to be on the market 60 days, maybe longer. And your renovations have to be A1 if you want top dollar. That's just
you got to hire a real contractor now.
Yeah,
Pay real contractor pricing.
Yep.
So I feel like investors got to be real careful. So I think like as an investor that the opportunities are a little bit less in terms of, I'm just saying in terms of like, so in the previous market you can damn near buy anything. Right, because you know it's going to sell, right? Now you got to be really careful about what you're buying at the price you're buying it at, and know your numbers for what you're putting into it. You really got to know. So this is not the market for newbie investors to come in and try to learn how to invest. You missed that. You got to wait till it come back. This is for experienced people.
The previous market, and even for realtors, the previous market, when the market is good, is almost anybody.
Is the market bad?
No,
it's not bad. But I'm saying, all right, when the market was super hot, it was easy. Now it's gonna take a different skill set.
Girl calling me.
Right? No. So let's differentiate between what you're saying. So what Reggie is saying is the market was appreciating at such a high rate.
It'll make up for crazy. Any bad decisions.
You can be a bad investor and still be all right.
Yeah.
But now, so what Jonnita is saying, that the market it didn't go bad, but now the market the appreciation has slowed down. It's still appreciating though. People have to understand that you're not losing value in your house. Your house is still appreciating, just not as at a higher rate. Unreasonable. I feel like it was unreasonable. It was unsustainable anyway.
It was not sustainable.
That could be considered a bad market, right? Because it was depending on who you are. That was not real. You know what I mean? It was selling people on a lot of dreams that this was. That this is how you make money, when that was only for a short period of time.
Right.
Long term, that's not how you make money.
Right.
Look, so I did this math. I'm not that great at math, but I did this math. So what do we say? A normal market appreciation is 4 to 7% or something like that?
About 4 to 5%.
Okay.
Every year.
So I did 4% in our market over, I think it was the last 12 years. Or something like that, or 18 years.
Okay,
maybe. We're right. If we would not had like the recession and all of the dilapidated properties, all of the depressed market, we're literally right where we would have been had we continued to appreciate with not without having the down curve.
Yeah, it's just this. Yeah,
so
makes sense.
Y'all could do the math in y'all's markets.
It's probably like that in
but
most
it's freaky.
markets.
Yeah. What about sellers? What should sellers be expecting in the upcoming market? You just said
price it right move.
Yeah, price it
well
right the first time.
Yeah, price it right,
and realize your price may not match the market, and that's all right if you don't want to move. But
so more days.
If you want to move, you have to understand you got to price it according to the market we in now. Not what you wishing it was, because you missed that boat, and really be realistic about how much time it's going to take.
So longer days on market.
Yeah.
Right. You should.
Well, I mean, you can fix that with the right price.
Yeah.
If it's.
But this is what you should be expecting, though.
Yeah.
So if they come in and buy your stuff real fast, great. Right.
Right.
But you shouldn't be expecting your house to sell in 7 days.
Nah.
You know what I mean?
Average price, average days on the market. Below average price, you're going to get below average days on the market. Just simple as that. If the average is 340 to 350, the average market time is 30 to 40 days, you might sell in 20. But that's why it's averages. But if you list that same house at 290, your front of your house going to look like Myers or Walmart.
Look, in most markets, though, when your agent shows you the data, you can see it, like literally in black and white. You can see the where the buyers bid the price versus what the market actually suggested for a price, right?
Right.
Because you had the agent probably going there and listed at what they felt like the value was for the area with the solds. And then you see what the buyers decided they wanted to pay for. There's a difference. And so I think right now the other thing sellers are going to have to be careful of is, let's say you do get those higher prices and you don't get appraisal guarantees.
Oh, yeah.
Now you have to worry about the house not appraising at that higher dollar amount. So like we just went through a whole segment of a seller wanting to be $20,000 or $30,000 above the market. So say someone comes in and they decide they want to finance your house at that higher dollar amount, but they don't do a guarantee.
Right.
And now what's going to happen if the house doesn't appraise?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You're going to be back negotiating.
Yeah. And another thing I'm telling sellers, like, look, before you can put your home on the market last minute, it's going to sell quick. Right. You realistically, you need to have, before I used to say 2 to 3 months before you need to move. Now you really want to put your home on the market about 4 to 5 months before you need to move. If it sells quicker, we can negotiate occupancy after closing. But the reason I say that is because if you have to move, say in December, right, and you put your house on the market now, the minute December 1st get here, you might start panicking and start wanting to reduce your price to a point that you're not comfortable with the price because you're desperate. But if you need to move by December and you put your house on the market 2 months ago, you got time. And when the offers come through, you can be a little bit more selective.
You're going to cost yourself some money.
Yeah.
And rushing. So basically, we're saying sellers expect longer days on market, expect to price your house at or below market.
Right.
Buyers, a lot more opportunity to own, even with the higher interest rates, right? A lot more opportunity to negotiate.
Yeah.
Right. And then investors, you really need to be on your numbers to be out here investing in this market.
Yep.
Next show, and there's some opportunities to offset those interest rates with the new loan programs that are coming up.
Oh, yeah.
We sharing it? No.
I mean, new loan programs coming up. It's more than one.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right. That's a wrap, right?
That's a wrap.